You're here. Good evening, folks. It's Diamond with the Oppenheimer Ranch Project, bringing you a grand solar minimum update, December 21st, Friday, 2 a.m. Mountain Time. I just did one of the most amazing interviews of my lifetime with a former student. It'll go live tomorrow night, and you're looking at the GFS total snowfall. And regardless of what the mainstream media tells you, this is record snow cover for the first week of winter. 16 to 24 inches and more predicted for northeast New Mexico. And these models are changing. But the game is unstranging. Heavy snow throughout the northern continent, north of 30 degrees latitude. Everywhere. Once you get to altitude, you get snow. And that's a ho, ho, ho. Welcome to the pre-Christmas Eve update. And that's a boom. Florida tornado damages homes, takes down trees. That's the bee's knees. The whole state is slathered.
We had some really nasty storms that rolled through Florida throughout Thursday. There were at least 70 homes that got damaged by storms in Pasco County alone. The Manatee County manager reported that a storm took down some trees and caused damage. And there was also a 90-year-old woman that was injured when the roof of her condo collapsed. So these were storms that were producing some very gusty winds and basically some very heavy rain as well. A couple reports of tornadoes as well in the general area, just kind of south and east of the line between Tampa and Orlando. And the threat for damaging storms is not over yet. We keep going through the night and that.
Wait a minute. So you're telling me 48 hours ago, I, Diamond from the Oppenheimer Ranch Project, warned that a swath of central Florida would be pummeled with treacherous weather, and now you're reporting on it. I must be a charlatan.
The line of storms is going to trudge toward the east, so I want you to be careful if you live in West Palm Beach, Miami, places like that, anytime between about 7 p.m. and 11 p.m. or so. And then these storms will be out to sea. That's the worst of it. You might have a couple quick little showers and storms after that, but there's been a lot of rain that's fallen from these guys, and we could see more. Flooding's a possibility, damaging wind, and maybe a tornado or two.
Yeah, maybe a tornado or two. 3 EFO 0 tornadoes touched down in west central Florida on Thursday. Severe storms left major damage behind in some areas. At least 70 homes were damaged by storms in Pasco County. We reported 2 days ago that central Florida would be pummeled at this very moment, and they were. Facts. East Coast storm, another flood threat in one of the wettest years recorded in the East Coast. The coast that's the most, and the toast of the showst. That's a made-up word. But cosmic ray increase leading to atmospheric compression, nucleation in the middle atmosphere, and record rainfall is predicted as we've been bloviating for a year and a half now. Just days before Christmas, heavy rain, not snow, is again on the table in the east. Heavy rain and fall will fall from Florida to New England through Friday. Will trigger both flash flooding and renewed river flooding because of heavy snows in November that people seem to forget. This is only the latest soaker in the wettest year ever. North America just had its most extensive November snow cover ever in the last 50 years. We're not queers. We're scientists, and these are facts. So deal with me. Thousands without power as Winter Storm Bruce batters the Northeast. Winter Storm Bruce moves in the Northeast, bringing snow, rain, and power outages before Diego, which was the icing on the cake. North America's Snowvember to remember set a record for the month in the satellite era, going all the way back to the early 50s. A number of winter storms dumped snow in the northern half of the U.S. and southern Canada, which people are forgetting because they've bought into the narrative that we're warming. One of the coldest Novembers ever recorded in anyone's life living now happened last month. Were you alive for it? I doubt it. Winter Storm Diego's damage, deaths, record snowfall, and impacts on freight. Now that it's raining before Christmas, forget about what happened in the fall. It has nothing to do with anything. You never experienced this. And now that most of the snow has melted, Winter Storm Diego is finally just a memory. Record snowfall came early in the season, a season without reason, and a November to remember. Technically before winter ever began, because that's not happening until later today. Storm development Diego started dropping lots of rain that was underreported in many regions. Still, none of the mainstream are claiming that 35 inches fell, which they did. 34 inches topped Mount Mitchell. 11.4 in Asheville, which 2 of the 6 corporate-owned media outlets reported that less than 3 inches fell on Asheville. That's a travesty of truth. We're not about fear-mongering here. We're about preparing you. We're preparing you for the truths that lie right before you. Polar vortex disruption could inflict one of the harshest winter records ever. Now, this is simply the facts. Many mainstream outlets are claiming that the polar vortex is ripping in two and it's going to wreak havoc on the UK and North America. Others are saying that some other anomaly, albeit created by global warming, are going to create these cold events where Arctic air from the Arctic all the way down to Florida break records throughout the next winter. And this is an anomaly that is forced by you because you smoke cigarettes and drive cars, buy gas and heat your house. You are causing the polar vortex to dip all the way to Mexico. It's your fault. Pay your taxes, bitch. And that's a boom. It's 3 a.m. in the New Valley of the Sun. And the list is in. Scientists who publicly disagree with the current consensus, which doesn't exist, on climate change is now in. Now, Cap Alon, Electroverse, I don't know, he might be in Ecuador or Brazil, but he certainly doesn't give up about the fraud. He cares about the facts, which is why he provides them on the right here of his blog. He provides you with the latest UAH temperature data, true, 1979 through today, so you can check out the facts on global temperature. And you can see that back in 1996, it was a half a degree warmer than today. How old were you in 1996? when global warming began. That was a great year for the global warmists because it was hot. You know why I know? Because I'm looking at the data. And I agreed in 1996 that the whole planet was burning up. Because the whole planet was almost a degree above normal. And it was being hot. But in 2000, when huge blizzards occur across the world, I was like, wait a minute, what the are they talking about? There's no linear heating. In fact, we're experiencing temperatures that go back into the 60s at this point, back in 2000. But no one in the mainstream reported on it because they had a narrative to build. And I'm telling you about facts. So if you don't like facts, unsubscribe to the channel and leave us now. And I'll show you how. You go to the subscribe area and you click it and it says unsubscribe and you say yes. And then you go away forever. Because you are hoping and praying that the narrative you've believed in for decades is coming true. And that your 401k will be fine and that your retirement is set and then you're going to go to Maui or Malibu or Long Beach or yada, yada, yada. And everything's fine. But by the end of this video, you might be wiping some dirt from your underwear. Just a warning. Because the list is in. Scientists are arguing that global warming is primarily caused by natural processes, not only including me and hundreds of others, are listed below. And this is from all over the globe. PhDs in soil science at New Zealand, solid state physicists, yes, from the University of Rochester, Don Easterbrook, who's been attacked because the only region he could get funding in for his entire career was the oil and gas industry, when he's just doing science. William Harper, Victor Herrera, Ole Humlum, Tim Patterson, Ian Plimmer, Arthur Robinson, Niccolo Scafetta, Nir Shaviv, Fred Singer, Willie Soon, Roy Spencer, Heinrich Spenzmark, George Taylor, David Mariello, and others. We will all stake our entire scientific career on our scientific data, and we'll shove it right up your ass. You know why? Because we are not swayed by your crony capitalism. We are not paid by your advisors. We work from the heart, and our minds drive us to the truth. And what will be revealed to you in the coming times on this channel is a cacophony of supporters of my work. People that I never, ever, ever thought had the balls to come into the forefront to say that, yes, Diamond's right. And you know why? Because I'm a scientist. And at first, I didn't believe him, because I used the scientific method. What Diamond was saying was way too sensational for me to believe, because I had bought into the mainstream narrative over the last 2 decades of global warming and catastrophe, and we're all going to burn up. But Diamond was my teacher at university, and I believed him then. But now I'm confused, because all the information that I thought I knew is exactly opposite of what he is continuing to say, which he has never for a single moment wavered from since time immemorial. As far as I'm concerned, the moment I knew about this science, my ideas were concrete, and I've been espousing the science since my first class sat before me in 1991. And I guarantee you, if you could find each and every one of the students that ever were in my class, they would say yes, Diamond is one of the best teachers that I ever sat in front, because he didn't demand that I had a textbook. He could care less if I studied anything. All he wanted me to understand is what he was telling me that day. Facts are not fiction. History is not a mystery. Science is a method. And it's a methodology that scientists do not understand these days. You have a theory. That's how you begin. Here's my theory. And then I go check the theory. I gather data. If my data does not support the theory, I do not continue on with that theory. I throw it away. I come up with a better theory. And then I go check the data. See, you don't get data first to corroborate the theory. You have a theory first, and then you check it. And then if the data you find matches it, you say, holy sh! That is a good theory. And then you go corroborate it. Now, let's run down the global warming theory. But let's move the list down here to scientists publicly questioning the accuracy of the IPCC shite. And this list is epic. Go check it out. It includes people from all over the globe that have come forward to say, I don't know. I don't know. There's no data to support that. So, the IPCC comes out with a theory called global warming that it sells to the public 30 years ago. 10 years later, its models are off 300%. The mainstream doesn't espouse it as being off 3 times. They continue the narrative. IPCC corrects itself, makes more fraudulent claims, even more epic. A decade later, everyone believes it. And then a decade after that, the facts come in and their models are off up to 500% this time. Nobody takes note. They reset, and here we are today, where all of the global warming models, all of them, have failed up to 500%. The average is 300%. The entire global population believes the narrative, and they continue to buy into it with new models that now claim ever more alarming numbers. They claim sea level is going to rise 50 feet in 20 years. They claim that it's going to rise 150 feet by 2100, and that the temperature will rise 9 degrees in the next 80 years. These predictions that the IPCC is making are so preposterous, it's beyond reprise. It's insane. There is no need for rebuttal. It's almost as if I would say that tomorrow I have an invention that all humans will be able to fly with this device that you hook onto your pinky toe. If you believe that, then you might as well believe the IPCC, who has ever increasingly, decade after decade, been wronger and wronger, which should be the newest word in the Webster's dictionary, wronger, and IPCC should get the reference. So, this is how science has been rolling out for decades. The wronger you are, the more the mainstream supports you. The more bullshit and fairy tale that you publish, the more the mainstream will support you. As long as it matches the narrative to tax your ass to poverty for carbon dioxide, which, by the way, is proven to be plant food, if you did not know. I guarantee that all the scientists on this list know that carbon dioxide is plant food, not a pollutant, and that all the pollutants that you're currently eating and all the processed food that's going into your groundwater and the subsurface are not carbon dioxide. But we're not being taxed for those. We're being taxed for plant food. While they show a picture of a penguin and a polar bear and a seal to make you feel like a dumbass. Because there are more polar bears than ever before in recorded history on Earth today, and there are more penguins dying in the Antarctic than ever before in history. And none of it has to do with warming. It has to do with the globe cooling. And I'm not fooling. I'm schooling. And you can all suck it. There it is. I'm not making it up. Multi-decadal averages have been maintained all year. Above average, 30-year averages for 9 of the last 11 months. And we are now approaching record ice growth. And I reported the other day that this slope from mid-October through December is the steepest ice growth ever recorded in the Arctic since satellites. So if you want to with me and you want to work with the last 80 years of data, I will stick it right up your ass, because the next 3 years are going to be the most brutal change you have ever seen in recorded history, which is barely your lifetime. Which is none of history, because I'm a geologist. I work in millions of years. And if you idiots don't know there's proxy data that is very clear that goes back 1,000,000 years, then you're a fraud. And the data I work with goes back 1,000,000, 500,000,000, 1,000,000,000 years, according to many. So why you start at 1880 makes you a fraud from the rip. That was the end of a cooling period. So the only thing that happens after the end of a cooling period is called a warming period, you frauds. And it has nothing to do with me or you. Unless in 1880 everyone said, hey, let's burn a bunch of shit and warm the earth. Which they didn't, by the way. I can't wait until the premiere of the video with my student tomorrow. And you won't miss it if you want to see it. We have northeast New Mexico coming in, tilting the charts. 2 feet of snow headed there before the new year. And if you want a white Christmas, everything I predicted is coming true. The entire West Coast, all states will see snow Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and the day after. And then after that, it's going to be a sub-blizzard moving through the central Midwest, wreaking havoc and then burying New England at the beginning of winter. Believe me, when we get into March and the snow looks the same, we're going to have a lot of believers in our court. Times are changing. Significant snowstorm to impact the eastern states. Stormy over the Pacific Northwest. Check out the watches and warnings. Winter storm warnings and watches throughout New England. Tons of flood warnings all the way down the rainforest, which I knew because I was born right here in Philadelphia County. I never understood why they called it a rainforest. I became a geologist, an ecologist, and a biologist, and I knew the woods intrinsically. When I was 12, I was thrown into the Pocono Woods, and I just lived there. I followed bears with a BB gun. I learned how to fly fish, tie flies at 14. I was a naturalist from the rip, and they claimed that this area was a rainforest, but I didn't get it. It hadn't rained there ever in my lifetime like it should in a rainforest. But guess what's happening now after I left? Yes, history repeats itself. The rainforest is back. And 10 to 20 feet of rain in this region is normal. That's why the biome is there. It was there because it's a rainforest. And if you can't think in terms biologically and geologically, these biomes develop for over thousands of years. That's 100 generations. You have no idea what that is. If you think you understand climate and weather, you're a fraud unless you've been through my life, unless you're a paleoclimatologist and you've seen all the data, unless you've checked all the boxes, crossed all the T's, dotted all the I's. There are like 50 people in the world like me who have done this work. And if you're going to question me, you are in for a world of hurt because you have no substance to stand on. I will rip you apart by every single data point that I have ever learned in my entire life. ADHD much? I got a scholarship, the only one to my university, and I was the 14th best student. Why did they pick me? Because they knew I was going to kick ass and take names. And I am taking names decades later, and I wish you would put them in the comments because I would love to stick my foot up your ass, you fraud. Whew. This all comes from an email I'm about to share with you. Windstorm batters BC's coast. Snow to fall inland. You knew it when you moved to Canada. It's shite. A punishing Pacific weather system has left thousands of British Columbians without power for days. It smashed into the coast. We predicted this a week ago, and it now could be the interior's turn as the winds along with projected snowfall trek inland. Over 250,000 homes without power across southern Vancouver and the lower mainland right now. We warned you 7 days ago, and if you watch the channel, you're pimping. But the rest of you are shite. Check the updates. Snowfall winter storm warnings plague British Columbia highways. Do not drive. Environment Canada has issued snowfall warnings for Highways 97 Pine Pass, Highway 3 from Paulson Summit, Kootenay Pass, Trans-Canada Highway from Eagle Pass to Rogers Pass, Highway 3 from Hope to Princeton via Allison Pass, Sea to Sky from Squamish to Whistler. A winter storm warning also continues for Coquihalla Highway, the highway to hell. Weather in the mountains can change suddenly, and we warned about it. Don't pout. Snowfall 10 to 15 centimeters expected on Pine Pass, and on and on. As we warned days ago, powerful 7.3 earthquake hits 83 kilometers west of Nikolskoye, Russia. Tsunami warning issued. No tsunamis detected that I could find. The warning was for 0.3 to 1 meter tsunami, and then it was canceled 3 hours later. This should make you take pause. The early warning system for deadly tsunamis sucks. They've been right about 50% of the time. So, we're the biggest fearmonger channel on the planet, according to many. But according to me, we're revealing the facts of the reality of the planet you live on. So if you live in these regions where huge plate boundaries occur, major seismic activity occurs, and we've been warning you for a year and a half that you're fluxed, take heed, because we are not making this up. This is based on historical evidence, scientific data, groundbreaking new scientific studies, including our predictions as we move into the grand solar minimum, the modern eddy minimum that you are living. The seismic uptick on the world today is 100% greater than normal. What you're looking at is a 100% uptick in normal seismic activity. That means it's double. Are you living in a double bubble of idiocy, or are you picking up what we're putting down? Because I can't get more downtown than the facts. And maybe I'm too cheeky, and maybe I'm too mainstream, or maybe I'm lamestream. because many people don't even believe I'm a scientist. They have no due diligence to find out who I actually am. So my entire mission for the next year is to make everyone feel foolish. Did you know that last week 200,000 unique visitors watched our videos? 200,000 people on the earth. That means that 160,000 people are cowards and they cannot subscribe to our channel because they would be exposed as actually caring about science. I find that baffling. 75 to 80% of humanity that watches our show would rather be frauds living a fake narrative where they talk about global warming at their cocktail parties and the blah, 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 rather than step up. And what I'm talking about is you need to step up about the facts. I've gone out on a limb here. I have nothing to lose. I'm in the middle of nowhere. But I guarantee you in the next year, I'm going to reveal to you how many people in the lamestream are waking up to my words. The students that I taught, I knew it, would come to the surface one at a time. People that have been in mainstream academia or a mainstream geologist working for the USGS and what have you, they probably found my channel accidentally, and they've been listening, and they remember me as a teacher. And I affected them. You know why? Because I don't make anything up. I am passionate about the information that is revealed to me when I go look at it. I'm a field geologist. I intrinsically know how to interpret the rock record, three-dimensional mapping techniques. Very few people have three-dimensional thinking. I was given a gift. I can't complain. But what I want you all to know is that I pledge my sincerity on every single thing that comes out of my mouth. And granted, 10% of what I say is continuously proven wrong. That's because I'm a scientist. I'm on the edge. So, and I am happy to concede to defeat based on the facts. But the facts are in. All of our predictions since we started this channel have come true. Increased snowfalls, record snowfalls, atmospheric compression, record rainfalls becoming the norm, hail increasing in size due to space weather. We've even made correlations from large volcanic activities and space weather. Coronal mass ejections and the sun and the universe and the electric current, the telluric currents. We are figuring out that low pressure systems on Earth are no different than sunspots on the sun. This is cutting edge plasma physics. If you're not ready to think outside of the box 100%, then you're not ready for my information. The problem is my information is probably true. And until I'm dead or I'm 90, 40 years from now, I will get not a single shred of credit for anything I say. And it doesn't matter. I'm not out here to make money, to scam you, or to lie to you. I'm a scientist. I am a teacher. The reason I accepted the full scholarship to graduate school is because they told me you're allowed to teach every day. And I said, are you kidding me? And you're going to pay me? This is my mission. It's my genetic code. I have never been happier in my life than speaking the information I'm giving you, because I know many of you want to hear it. You need to be taught. You need to be walked through it. I was. You weren't. And you don't have the money to pay $2,000 to some asshole to tell you the earth is warming when it's not. Because I didn't want to hear that bullshit either. And when I heard a lie at university, I stuck my foot in that professor's ass. Ask anyone. And those professors paid, because in the end, guess who was right? I was. I can remember when I was defending my thesis during comps. This is the most dreaded moment of your graduate career. Every professor that hates you gets to sit in a dark room and drill you on information that you don't know. And my most hated professor, Dr. Grandstaff, came into that room just for a moment to ask me his question because he thought he was going to put me on blast. And he looked me straight in the eye and he said, Diamond, what is the resistivity of uraninite in the subsurface in Montgomery County in Pennsylvania? Now, this is a question no one in the world could ever answer. No one, correctly. And for some reason, I closed my eyes and I prayed. And I looked at Dr. Grandstaff and I said, negative 2.7. And the look on his face, he almost crapped himself. He left the room. You know why? I had no idea what he asked me. And I had no idea the answer I gave him, but it was exactly correct. So somehow, my integrity tapped the Akashic record at that moment, and I blew that guy's mind. Not on purpose. On integrity. On belief, on acceptance. I wanted the information. I did not want to be fraudulent. I have never in my life ever wanted to make up any information about anything. I have always been a seeker of knowledge. I want to uncover the truths through the data. An Indiana Jones of sorts. This has been my mission since I was born. When I was 9 and someone asked me, what do you want to be? I said a paleontologist. It wasn't until I was 32 that I realized that I actually did that for free, and they gave me a scholarship. I had no idea until decades later that exactly what I told everyone I wanted to be was what I had become. But the problem was, at that time, I was not allowed to be a paleontologist. I was not allowed to be a stratigrapher. I was not allowed to be a paleoclimatologist because the facts were in. The globe was warming. And the IPCC knew more than I did. And here we are today, filled with misinformation. Newsflash, volcano selfies are dangerous. This is the news. This is what we call news today. Taking volcanoes of erupting are dangerous, and you have to be told that. As Mount Etna volcano spews lava and gas into the night sky, as we predicted an uptick 6 months ago that is coming true today. Now, I'm about to go off the hook in a second, so let's just get to the end of this quickly. Thank you, Cap Alon. Cucino Rabu Hima. Cucino Rabu Jima volcano erupts. I know it as Cucino Rabu. Pyroclastic flow was generated, maybe VEI 1 or 2, but a major event that you won't see anywhere else but Electroverse. And here, we're not here to scare you, we're here to give you the facts. It's killing me. So, I'm going to tell you that I'm going to be pulling back from the information. I'm going to give you more quality information with more quality resources that are unrefutable as we move forward. You know, it's fun to be entertained. But it's better to learn. Much better. As you learn the facts and you can weed away yourself the BS from reality, you can wake yourself. So we're not here to indoctrinate you. We want to educate you. Don't be scared, be prepared. Don't be indoctrinated, be educated. And if you have to start from the beginning, it's okay. Not a lot of people had money to go to university. Not a lot of people even listen in high school. They smoke too much pot because everyone's an asshole. You're surrounded by assholes. But today, you've joined one of the best channels you could ever be at. Because not only am I an asshole, but I'm one of the best teachers on the planet. And I'm not an egomaniac. This is just from what people tell me and what I've learned. I've learned to be humble in my aged times. My humility comes from the fact that the most important thing I know is that every day I learn more and more. Nothing is static in my diatribe. It's flowing. Do not wish that you were in my mind for 1 second, because your brain would fry. I'm an enigma, but an enigma that you would want to harness. That's why you're watching the show. Like Santa Claus down the chimney of science in your mind, which is fine. It's dry as here. Worldwide volcano news update. Shivalush eruption today. Cosmic ray flux induced. Silicious rich volcanoes erupting. Uptick worldwide. PNG Volcanic Institute, Indonesia, 20 volcanoes erupting above normal. Confirmed this week. Krakatoa, Shivalush, Tukono, Reventador, Sangay, Sabancaya, Langila, and more. At your door. Ebola panic, Christmas travel could see disease spread out of Congo. It's moving closer. Boom! If you have an open sore, do not rub Ebola in it. Heads up. I hate that. When you rub Ebola right into your sore, I hate it. It makes me very uncomfortable. Jordan B. Peterson, climate change denier and faux lover of science. He doesn't love science. He's just like me. He only likes facts. And those facts are for assholes. We like dogma and bullshit that we make up as we write it. And if you don't believe it and pay your taxes, you can suck it, you denier. Jordan B. Peterson gets the Climate Denier Award of the Day. Amen to Jordan Peterson. Thank you for your message, sir. We support you 100%. We're deniers as well. We deny global warming. We do not deny climate change. But this guy, Frank Morgan, one at excite.com. Guys, if you have a moment, please send Frank Morgan 1 at excite.com an email tonight for me. I'm going to copy that so I don't forget it. Frank Morgan 1 at excite.com. I'm going to read this through because I read it through 8 times. I did an entire hour-and-a-half live stream with a real geologist about it. And I think you'll be interested to see what we talk about tomorrow night, 10 p.m. live. Bill Wettstein, former student, now colleague, reaching out to me across the interwebs. And you are going to be very interested to hear what Bill has to say. Let me read the email. Diamond, you are a lying fraud and a total hypocrite, as you are the fearmonger and your predictions are not scientific at all. However, they are based all on science. So Frank, you're an idiot based on your title. To the lying hypocrite fraud Diamond, how dare you call other people fearmongers when you're the most outrageous fearmonger that could ever be? Frank, we do not instill fear, we instill reality. So clearly you've never watched any single one of our videos because there's no fear involved. In fact, we call out all the fearmongers that are mongering about Yellowstone erupting and everyone burning up and all the other bullshit that's not happening. Our catastrophe is slow moving. If you're prepared when the event occurs, you'll be ready. So there's no fear involved. There is no fear mongering whatsoever on our channel, Frank, so you've never even watched it. Also, how dare you say you use science when you don't? Frank, I'm a published scientist. I've been in the field for probably all of your life. And I have professional scientists that are in academia that are all coming out of the woodwork that are about to support my ass and make you look like an idiot. Any predictions are not scientific at all. Frank, predictions are scientific based on the fact that the scientific method needs theories, which are predictions, that get tested and then recycled through the scientific method to make the theories better through predictions, which are then tested through the scientific method to make the predictions better. So, you saying that any predictions are not scientific at all makes you an idiot. Are you stupid and ignorant to know that you are a fucking hypocrite when you call other people fearmongers? When you are the one who is the biggest fearmonger ever? 3 question marks, not even a question. Those should be exclamation points, Frank. You're revealing how stupid you are and that you don't even understand the English language. No, I guess not, as you don't even know what hypocrite means. Frank, you're losing us, and it's only the beginning of your email. All of you so-called predictions are not scientific at all, as there is no science in predicting earthquakes and volcanic eruptions. Frank, this sentence calls you out as a dogmatist, which means that you don't believe in science, because you already believe that there's no way we can predict earthquakes and eruptions. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Because if we use science and data, I assure you in the future, earthquake and volcanic eruptions will be predictable, because as of now, they're becoming more and more predictable. Because all the predictions we've made on this channel about earthquakes and volcanoes have come true. Frank, absolutely no one can make any such predictions, as there is no known 100% probable way to do so. There is no 100% probable way to do anything, Frank. So clearly you are a troll and you can suck it. All of your predictions will not and cannot happen. Frank, they've all come true. Every one that we've made thus far. And we're going to stick with the same scientific method we've used because we're successful so far, Frank. And only the most ignorant, stupid moron would ever believe any of them. Frank, you have only watched one show and you sent me an email. That's pathetic. None of your predictions will happen. Frank, all of our predictions we've made in the last year and a half have come true. Period. I hear crickets. I have no idea who the hell you think you are, trying to impress by making them, but it can only the dumbest, stupidest people on earth, whoever them. Boom! Also, grand solar minimum not happening. Not till 2030, because I know, Frank knows 2030 the earliest. Frank. Signed, Frank. Also, thank you to attack mainstream scientists, calling them liars, when you are such a lying piece of filth that could ever be shows. Holy macaroni. Whew. Frank, you blew me away. But I am a published scientist in the mainstream for 3 decades with over 10,000 reads Yeah. 10,000 in the last year. Just what an utter deranged fucking screwball you are. I can't wait 1 year. You don't even have to wait 1 year because all our predictions already came true over the last year. So you don't have to wait, Frank. When none of your insane predictions happen, what you will say then, I am sure you will just take off and disappear so your screwball stupid followers, that's all of you listening, won't hunt you down and give you what you deserve. So Frank is claiming that in a year, I'm going to run into the woods and hide at my compound, which I'm already at, which you all know the address to, and you all know my phone number, 970-264-1073. And you're all going to come get me in a year because I'm making this up. FrankMorgan1@excite.com. I cannot implore you enough to email him to tell you what you think. Because I smell poo-poo. Pentagon ordered to begin planning troop drawdown in Afghanistan. Do you see this guy here? Who's Trump is touching as the drawdown in Afghanistan occurs? Let's get on with it. That's James Mattis. If you don't know about public policy, look at the bags under his eyes. This represents fears and lies. And Trump unleashed. Mattis' exit paves the way for global chaos. This is the guy that was holding the planet together. Do you see the weight in his buttercups here? He left. He left the job. Interior Department moves towards selling oil leases in the Arctic. Putin warns the threat of nuclear war should not be underestimated. And a mile-deep ice crater and Mars quakes are happening on Mars. Look at the water there. This is Korolev Crater, 50 miles across, filled with water and ice near the North Pole of Mars. Facts do not cease to exist because they are ignored. Are you listening, Frank? The facts are in. Diamond has never strayed from the facts. That's why no one ever believes him. Because the mainstream does not give you the facts. They give you the opinion. The opinion of the groupthink. You can be a sheep and groupthink. Or if you're one of the people on the cusp, you can start to hear the reality in my diatribe. My dialogue has been the same from the rip. And your minds are going to be blown tomorrow night at 10 p.m. when my former student breaks his silence about the realities of what's happening on the earth. A lot of you are asking me, what's the best video to show someone, to introduce them, or to convince them about what you're saying? Try this video I made a year ago, almost to the day. What's a grand solar minimum anyway, and why wasn't I taught about it in school? Should have more than 30,000 views. It's 6 minutes long. If nobody has 6 minutes to dedicate to the rest of their life to facts, then they're a lost cause. So I recommend you share them this video, which I'll link below, to get their feet wet.
Very high detail.
On the facts, in very high detail.
The GSP-2 data is shown right here. It's been adjusted by me because recent papers have shown that the mainstream science community obfuscated the truth about the modern warming. and we needed to add another half a degree and push the actual temperature down to the real data point. And when we did that, a miraculous thing happened. It showed that the Earth has been gradually cooling since the Holocene warm, which every climate scientist believes.
Imagine that. We're actually providing you with science, and everyone is mad at us. In fact, they're even angry at the fact that we now know that cosmic rays trigger explosive volcanic eruptions, and you are now living in the cosmic ray maximum. Imagine that. This paper will be linked below, as well as every other links to every other topic we have ever talked about ever in the last year and a half. Winter solstice 2018 coming now. Full moon and meteor shower make it special. If you know about the Earth and you're a watcher, you will read the links to this video. We've gone on for an hour. I've done interviews for 3. You now know how dedicated as a scientist I am to bringing you the truth. For the last 500 days, every single day, without pause, I've brought at least one video to the forefront on this venue. They haven't shut us down, they haven't demonetized us, and the powers that be are definitely trying to block this information. But I dot my I's and cross my T's, and I have eliminated recues because I am one of the few people on the earth qualified to talk about this topic. And I talk about it in extreme detail and have a depth of knowledge that few do. So if you want to call me on it and say that I'm a fearmonger or a non-scientist, please come on the show and let's debate. I guarantee your panties will be in a bunch and you will go home crying. And it's not because I'm an egomaniac. It's because I'm a scientist and I have facts. I've been doing this my whole life. I would hope you would challenge me. There are few who would. The reason is facts hurt. You cannot deny facts. You cannot hide from them. A fake narrative born of no facts called global warming dies in front of my eyes before your very lives. These lies will be realized. It's true. It takes decades to change the narrative in science. So, we're willing to wait, but we will continue to provide you the facts as breakfast for your holiday. Happy solstice. All you pagans out there, enjoy the real science. The science of celestial mechanics is undeniable. I thought it was questionable 3 decades ago, but today the clarity is amazing. I had a download in 2012 that revealed to me that everything I had ever studied and was confused about because of the mainstream narrative, it was cleared up in an instant. You live in an electric universe. You have been alive forever. This place has been here forever. There is no Big Bang. There are no black holes. There are anomalies that we are unaware of, but there is no dark matter or dark energy. It's all electrical. Electromagnetic information that needs to be recalculated. Your chakras are real. Your energy centers are real. You can heal yourself. Christ consciousness is in you. There is no God judging you up above. Only you judging yourself, and you suck because you haven't woke up yet. So just stay silent for a minute. Cry. It's worth it. And realize that everything you've ever been told is a lie. It's a tough reality to come to, but we'll walk you through it. It's okay. You have support. We're here for you. We love you. Merry Christmas.